Retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis served 21 years on active duty with the US Army. He is now a senior fellow and military expert at the think tank Defense Priorities and author of The 11th Hour in 2020 America. Good to see you again. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Okay, well, there's been some debate, some flack, if you like, for the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milley, whether or not he got it right when he compared China's test of a hypersonic missile to being very close to a Sputnik moment. That was when, back in 1957, when Russia shocked the world by launching the first satellite into orbit, jumping ahead of the US in the space race. So Milley sort of had this extra context, if you like. Listen to this.
They're expanding rapidly in space, in cyber, and then in the traditional domains of land, sea, and air. And they have gone from a peasant-based infantry army that was very, very large in 1979 to a very capable military that covers all the domains and has global ambitions. So China is very significant on our horizon.
So not wanting to speak for the general, but I guess what he's saying, it's not so much that China is beating the United States in terms of military capability, but rather developing that capability at a pace which is surprising. So what are the implications and consequences from all of that?
Well, I mean, with all due respect, I don't know how anyone could be surprised by this, the least of all the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, because the Department of Defense at the Pentagon every year puts out an update on the very detailed report on the development of the Chinese military. We've been tracking this literally for decades, all the way through publicly. So anyone who claims this is a surprise, any capacity of a Sputnik moment, it's just a bit of a head scratcher because, I mean, they've been specifically reporting on since 2015 in that Pentagon report about the hypersonic missile. So all of this is kind of developing a pace. So I think that it's a lot of bluster, and I don't know if they're trying to fan up the threat from China so they can get more budget money or what. But the fact of the matter is that all of this development just shows that China is a modern and developing country that needs to be taken seriously.
Developing a weapon system by itself is not a threat. It's how a country plans to use it, which could be a threat. Listen to the Pentagon spokesperson, John Kirby. Here he is.
These advanced military capabilities are paired with a foreign and defense policy approach that uses intimidation and coercion of neighboring nations to yield to China's interests. And so taken in sum, it reinforces for us the need to continue to treat the PRC as our #1 pacing challenge.
Yeah, officials in Beijing will often tell you that China has never started a war, never invaded another country. India and Vietnam, the South China Sea, may beg to differ with that. And we just heard from the leader of Taiwan talking at length to CNN about the growing threat the island faces from mainland China. So Beijing is willing to use its military, but under what context and how far is it willing to go, I guess, is the question right now.
Yeah, and that's the absolute best, right question to ask that everybody needs to pay attention to, because Beijing has never, and I mean from 1949 on, ever said anything besides that they're willing to use force to take Taiwan back so that they can complete the unification of their country that they started in their civil war in really in the 1920s. So this is kind of an extension of that. It's just been paused for a long time. But on these other ones, China's been very careful. They've had very limited objective military conflicts of very short duration with Vietnam, with India, as you saw it, and with the Soviet Union. But once they got, whatever their limited objectives done, then they stopped. They didn't invade the country. They didn't occupy them or any of those kinds of things. And there's no evidence. This is the most crucial part. There's no evidence that they have any intention or desire to conquer any other nation outside of Taiwan. And they are very serious about that, which is why I'm so adamant that we need to stay out of that. We, under no circumstances, should fight a war with China over Taiwan. We just can't win it.
Well, on Tuesday, the US Secretary of State released a statement about Taiwan, which was not to Beijing's liking. Here's part of it. Taiwan has become a democratic success story. We are among the many UN member states who view Taiwan as a valued partner and trusted friend. Taiwan's meaningful participation in the UN system is not a political issue, but a pragmatic one. So if containment of China seems to be a balancing act of maintaining a military advantage, while at the same time not giving Beijing reason to act out, why would Antony Blinken essentially poke the panda here?
Well, that's another good question to ask, and the right one, because if our objective is to prevent conflict on the Taiwan Peninsula or on the Taiwan Island, and it is, then we need to do things to keep things calm in both Taipei and in Beijing. And the last thing we need to do is to further incite Beijing to give them more reason to want to do that, to do anything to Taiwan. And talking about doing anything at the UN comes very close to violating the 1971 agreement that we agreed with, which made the PRC, the People's Republic of China, as the sole representative at the United Nations. And so talking about that now just inflames tensions unnecessarily, and it doesn't do Taiwan any good. And that's really the one thing I want to point out here, is that this is not helping Taiwan to further inflame China on something we know is an emotional issue for them.
Yeah, it is an existential issue for China. It is a peripheral one, I guess, for the United States.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Daniel, thank you so much for being with us. It's good to see you again.
Always my pleasure. Thanks for having me.